All right, let's continue. Last time we did the entity relationship diagram or the data model. Now we're going to take this and start building it into a database. I'm going to take like one table at a time and build it into a database. I'm going to move this to the left side here in another monitor to keep referencing this. I will be using a tool called Airtable. Airtable is very well known. It has a good reputation. A lot of organizations are using it. It gives us a ton of functionalities. The pricing is fairly good. It's $20 if paid annually, and then $24 per month if paid monthly. And they do have a 50% discount for nonprofits on the team's plan. So this is a very good deal as well. I do recommend Airtable for small teams. For larger teams, maybe more than 10 people, then it is still a good option, but there are some alternatives that we can talk about at a later time. All right, let's go ahead and start creating our database. I'm gonna go ahead and click create. You have the option to go with Omni, and this is the name for their AI tool or AI companion. This is the tool that you talk to build stuff. I'm gonna just I always prefer to be mindful and attentive and knowledgeable of what I am building. So you could use AI as long as you're aware of what it is doing, what it is building, and you're guiding it through the process. So I'm just gonna start on my own here. From the top side here, this is where we get to give a name to the database. So I'm just gonna give it some name, our happy nonprofit database. You can select a different color. I just stick to this color here. It automatically created one table for us. Let's start with our own table now, and we'll just customize the one that had created for us. We'll start with the entity table. So I'm going to right click on table one here and then rename. I'll give it the name entity. Now notice here that it's giving you examples. The button that will later appear to add or create a record in this table, it's going to say add entity. And when sending emails to this list of entities, it's going to say send entities, which is fine. Now, notice that it has automatically created one view, which is this view here. We can change this to other types of views like calendar, gallery, and Kanban. Sometimes these are useful. Sometimes it's just the grid view is just what we need. And most of the time, it's the grid view that will be used. Now, I don't need any of those fields. I'm just going to delete those fields. And we will start fresh. Right. Every database record or table is going to need a name. Sometimes the name is meaningful, like the case of an entity. In this case, it is the name of the entity. It's the name of the organization, the name of the nonprofit, the name of the government organization, and so on. So we're going to leave the name as is, and then we're going to start adding our other fields. Again, I'm referencing the ERD. So one thing we need is the type field, and this is going to be a select. So in here, you have the different data types for fields. We have a date, so this enforces a date format, a phone number, an email, a URL, a number, a currency, and so on. One of those options is select. This is, we have two selects, multiple select and single select. We generally don't want to use multiple select as much as possible to make reporting easier, to make it easier to build automations and things like that. We can talk more about this later. For now, I'm going to go for a single select. And this is a type field in which we say, is this an organization or a household? You can click this arrow to update the colors. I'll just leave them as is, and then I'll click create. Now that we have this field, we get to specify if it's an organization or a household. Next, we're going to add a phone number. So I can search for the data type. So this is the data type. selected it, and then I'm going to give this field a name, phone number, and then create. We also need an email. Selected the data type for an email, and then given it the name of an email as well. We're going to add the address fields now, street, city, state, postal code, and country, and all of them are going to be single line text. You could make the state a select or a pick list drop down. You can also make the country a drop down. It's up to you. It's fine. It's fine either way. If you want to info, it's actually better to have a drop down so that people. Some people will write a state abbreviated like MI, and some others will write Michigan. Sometimes it's subject to typos. So to make data consistent and to enforce proper data, it would be better to go for a select or a pick list or a drop down whenever possible. For now, I'll just keep it a single line text for all of them. So this is going to be the street. And then this is going to be the city. State. Here's the code. And the last thing is the country. Alrighty, now that we have the table for entities, we can add a couple of things. But before we actually add a couple of things, let's add some data in there. Let's add some data to be able to visualize what that looks like. And while I could add data manually like this, just give it some name, some organization name, and then select the type and so on. While we could do that, another way to do this is to use a tool called Mokaroo. And Mokaroo is going to basically give us like a larger set of data for testing purposes. So we're going to have to give it what is it that we're looking for, and then it will be able to generate more data. You see, it can give us like up to 1,000 rows of records. We're going to need to give it some field information to give us data. So let's do that. So I want the first column to be the name, and I need this to be an organization or a company, maybe company name. So I need this to be a company name. And then in the type field, I'm going to select custom list, and I need it to just like use one of these two values, either organization or household. I'm going to type organization, comma, household. So it will randomly select one of these two. And then a phone number. The name in this field here must match the one in Airtable. And the phone number, we're going to say phone number. Then email and address. Let's email. It's already here. Just make the first letter capital. I'm not sure if it makes any difference, but yeah. And then street. The street is going to be a street address. And then city. That's a city. And then let's add state. Postal code. For the state, you can make it like only the US to give you states in the US only. And then the last thing is the country. And then we're going to say what kind of data we need in here. We need the names of countries. And because I know that the free tier on Airtable does have a limit on the number of records or number of rows to have per base, base as in database, I'm gonna, I know it's 1,000, so I'm just gonna not go for 1,000, I'm just gonna go for 50 to save some real estate. Let's generate this, and then I'll save it, the desktop. I'll replace the previous one I was testing. And then from here, under entity, right click in entity, and then import data, selecting CSV, and selecting this file that we just downloaded. You can review here. Notice that the first row it's adding is the same headers. So under other settings, you can click exclude first row to prevent that header row from getting imported. And then looking at this, it looks good, looks fine. And then I can go ahead and click import. I'm going to delete the first three. These were created automatically. Now that looks so much cleaner. Let's add just a couple of views and then we are done with this table. From the left side here, this is the view that was created right away. I'm just going to rename it to be default view. No thanks. So this is the default view here. We can, like, what's the point of creating new views is to make it easier to get to the data that we need. This here, for example, is showing us all entities in the system. Let's say I want to see only organizations or only households. If I want to see only organizations, I can apply a filter from here to show me only organizations. Another way is to actually, instead of having to create a filter and somebody else comes here to this view and see that it is a filtered view and they have to remove the filter to see everything or change the filter to another type, we can create multiple views for each one of those filters. The type of views that we typically want to see, these are the ones that we would want to create views for. Let's create a new grid view. And this time, let's give it the name organizations only. All right, so I'll just name it organizations. And then here, you can do this in multiple ways. You can click filter and then add condition and then select the field for type and then organization. This is one way to do it. But this takes quite a few steps to do. I prefer to go to the field itself, right click, and then filter by this field. It automatically opens the filter, adds the name of the field, and then from here I can just select organization. Now that I have done this, it doesn't make sense for me to see this column anymore because everything here is organization. So I can hide this one, hide this field here. So I can right click and click hide, or you can click on the hidden field button here, and then you can select which fields to hide from this view. Similarly, we can create another view for the households. I'm going to click duplicate view, and this time I'm going to give it the name households. And this time I'm going to change this from organization to household. And that's it. Now that we have the table for entities, we have a default view that shows me everything. We have organizations, we have households, and we have some dummy data. This is it for the entity table. We'll resume the rest of the tables in future videos. Thank you.